Hello and welcome to FloralCouturier teaching. My name is Natasha and today we're going to create a colourful, quite simple, but very nice and elegant bouquet by the spiral technique. Stay tuned. So everything starts with stems cleaning, leaves taken off, conditioning every flower. And we're going to start with helleborus. The stems are quite fat and they are like that. So what we need to do is to get rid of unnecessary leaves and little flowers that's been damaged and prepare the stems for the bouquet. After the stems of helleborus are cleaned and they're nice and neat, we continue to do so with each flower we have to make sure our bouquet at the end is nice, clean and neat, as I always say. Now the situation with the roses here, before we're going to continue, I'm going to show you a little life hack. So some of the florists, some people like their roses to be quite big and open. So to do that, you would need to have a rose which is a little bit open by now, so it's softer than the normal fresh rose, and we are going to get all the petals inside out to make sure the head gets bigger. You won't be able to do that with a fresh rose because fresh rose head is going to be very tight and very closed, so it won't allow you to get the petals inside out. They're just going to break. But with the roses that have been sitting out for a while, is very possible. So you just get the petals out like this nicely. Just make sure you don't break any, and you just get them out like this. And at the end, you have quite open head, which you can use in your arrangement, or you can just have them on their own in your vase, quite open like that. As soon as you're going to cut the stem fresh and put it in water, it's going to soak up and stay like this. So we need to clean all our stems to make sure, as I always say, there is no leaves or anything on it because they all go into one arrangement. Another quick life hack for you flower lovers before we're going to start, again with the roses. So when you choose your rose in the shop, in a farm, doesn't matter, how to understand that your rose is actually freshly cut and it hasn't been sitting in the fridge somewhere in Holland for about 2 weeks. So the main green petals that is holding the actual head need to be up. They all need to be up, like literally basically holding the actual head. And if they are, it means your rose is fresh. You also touch the head by the sternness of it. So the harder the head is, the fresher your rose is. But also don't forget to pay attention to the green petals, leaves, which are holding the actual head. So if your rose is pretty much like this, you can see the green leaves are down, that means it's a no good. Now all our flowers and stems are clean, and here is another life hack for you before you start to create your bouquet. It would be great for you to place all your stems like that in piles. Usually florists do struggle with the space, but I'm trying to get as big a table as I can for you to understand it. So when your stems are like that and they are in groups, it's easier for you to mix them, because that's what we're going to do, one by one. So you just make sure they're all there like that, lined up. And when one of your hands is busy holding the bouquet, you don't twist around looking for the stem you need. So that's the best layout for the spiral bouquet. And now we're going to work with this absolutely gorgeous, beautiful Vanda. This is one of my main flowers. If you would go on to my Instagram, for example, you would see that I do use a lot of purple Vanda. So that is my kind of signature flower, and the logo has purples in it as well. So this is one of my favorites ever. So today I'm going to show you how to do the blooms, which we will use in our bouquet. We've got 0.8 floristry wires here, which I am going to use to wire my blooms so they have a long stem, because if you, as you can see, the stems of the bouquet is going to be quite long. So for us to make sure the Vanda gets in on the same condition as everyone else, we need to make sure it has a stem. So, and another thing about taping, because that's what it's called, taping not just Vandas, any other bloom, will help that bloom to stay fresh for the longer period. Because the life hack on this one is, when you're taping your flower, your bloom, you are closing the cut of it with this specific floristry tape. And how you do that, you just twist and turn and pulling at the same time your tape down to make sure it's very neat and clean, and it looks like this. So then you just cut your stem out the length you need, and it's good to go. So it's called taping, and we're closing the actual cut of the bloom here, meaning there's no air or anything, so your bloom stays moistured there for quite a while, and that will allow you to play with those blooms around your bouquet. I usually do leave an actual original stem with a few blooms on it, because that's my center of the bouquet, which I'm going to use in a minute, and I'm going to show you how. And now all the flowers are ready, so nothing stops us now from creating a beautiful spiral bouquet. Let's go. I do usually start with the bigger blooms to make sure my base is there for me and it's easy to start the spiral. So when the situation is like this, for example, you do need this stem, but this stem is not on your level, so just drastically take it off, and you might use it later in a shorter way, so it still gets the water at the end. Or sometimes, actually a lot of times in floristry, we do waste loads of blooms just because they don't fit or they just don't look good. So we're going to start twist and turn as we do. Same with Lysianthus. Here, for example, I am using this and this. So this stem goes out. This stem goes out too. So I might use those shorter ones later on, but I am using this one here. And that's what's happening basically with every flower. So when your base is kind of done, which is about 4 or 5 stems, so it's comfortable for you to actually hold it properly so it doesn't go move anywhere. So that's how you start creating a spiral, visually spiral looking bouquet. So twist and turn, we add the stem, we twist and turn. Halfway through, I always stop and I look and I check to make sure all of my blooms are in place and I'm happy with them where they are. I'm not really happy with this Vanda, for example, because it gets squashed. So I just get it out a bit and fix it to make sure it's more visible. And also, as I go, even though that we've checked all the blooms and we make sure they're all clean and good to go, every stem I put in, I check again just to make sure I didn't miss anything, there's no bad petals or it hasn't been bashed or anything like that, just to make sure it's perfect at the end. So we keep going. And then again, now I've got 3 Vandas on this side, so I need to start making sure, and this is how it gets done. So when your taped stem is ready to go, so you just look at the place where it needs to be. So this one's just asking to be here, and to make sure it's equally done. Our spiral bouquet is now done, as you can see. So I've got just a few very short stems left, which I am not going to use, and a very bad rose. So this is my middle stems. So I'm just going to place it here in the middle. But before I'm going to do that, here is another life hack. It's now quite heavy and it needs to be tied up before I can get myself a space in the middle. So what we're going to do next, what we usually do next, is some of the florists and some of the stems are getting broken in the middle, which is, again, it's just the way it is. So what we do, some of the florists do cut the stems first and then tied up the bouquet. I do the way around, and I use this very favorite thing of mine, which is a floristry sticky tape, which works wonders. It's quite sticky, and it's very easy to use with one hand as well. And also it's quite soft, meaning that it doesn't cut into the stems of your bouquet, because some of the stems are quite soft or fragile. So using the wire, or I don't know, the thread, might cut your stem just at the spot where your spiral is. So I've been using this for God knows how many years, and I'm very extremely happy with this. So I would suggest to do that. And it's also a very easy to attach. So you just start above your fingers and then you do it around, and then it gets easier. So few twists around your bouquet. Don't pull it too much, and make sure it's not too loose, and then you can just do that, which makes it easier. And now it's done, but not till the end, so now I can shake it. And now I can cut all my blooms, and whatever's left is going to go under as well. So when you cut your blooms, when you cut your stems, I usually suggest to use a bin or anything like that, so you can put it on it as a start, and then to make sure all of your stems are cut on the same length. This is how you will know your spiral bouquet is done correctly, because what it needs to do, it basically needs to stand on its own stems. So let's check that. And voila. And now we have more space, so I'm just going to do this and shake it well to make sure it's really stable. This stem keeps coming out. We'll fix it later. So we do this, and now I have enough space before I'm going to tie it up and make sure it's all ready to go. So I'm putting my Vanda in the middle. And now Vandas are all in, and our spiral bouquet is ready. The other thing, the good perks of using this wire as your securing tape is you can always pull some of the heads a bit more out when you see, that something is sinking or is too deep. So by pulling heads like this, that's what this tape allows you, which is quite handy, because sometimes when you make the bouquet, some of the stems might just sink more deeper than they should, or you want them to. So that allows you to check and make sure they're all nicely done and at the same level. I'm not sure how much you understand the size, but it's quite a decent size. And now the very last touch before this bouquet is officially done, and you can gift it to someone, or is it going in a vase or whatever, is to make sure your technical tape, which is now a technical tape, is covered, right? So in my case, it's always purple or gray. So I just do this, and I'm going very high because I need to make sure my tape is covered. So I go one on top of the other. And I find a place where I hold it tight with both hands, and then we just make a double knot. And one of my microphones just died on me. So I was saying that that's it. So we make this knot here. So now your bouquet is properly done and tight. And I usually leave those ends, those tails hanging down. I'm just going to make a little cut to the end so it looks more nice, so it looks nicer, more neat and clean. And that's it. Enjoy.